This is Amud Yomi Gemara Berachos Daf Lamed Zayin Amud Beis, and we're holding really on the last line of Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph, but we have to go drop higher. We have to start from the two dots, about 12 lines up. Amar Mar, get a little bit of a running start to hopefully have clarity, as the first shtickle Gemara is one dot difficult. So Amar Mar, let's pick it up from there. Concise is Oireis, so to chewing Oireis. Varach le'bervi adama. Tchana, if you ground it, afay, if you baked it to bishle, and then you cooked it, again, you took the Irish bread, and then you cooked the bread. Afalpi, shaprus the pieces of the bread, you still see it. Still, name is zaynais. Ulibisayif brachachas mean shalosh. Even though you see the piece of bread, which by regular hamaitzi dictated that it does not lose its status of hamaitzi, but over here by Irish bread, says the Gemara, it still loses its hamaitzi. It becomes whenever it was hamaitzi, it becomes a mizaynis. Ask the Gemara Latanya, but we learned in a Bryce Libsayf Aloy Klum that you don't do anything afterwards. Now, and every time we're going to see Libsayf Aloy Klum doesn't mean you don't do anything. It means you don't make an alamech. It means you make a bayrei nefashais. Amar Rav Sheshas like Kasha. Harav Gamliel Harabanan. One is Rav Gamliel, whereas one is when we say like klum, very nefashis, that's the Rabbanan. Now we started the Tanya. Now the reason we had to reread this is because we stopped in the middle of the Brisa, and it's the second half of the Brisa which really is proving this Rav Gamliel and Rabbanan. So part A of the Brisa, which is again almost a parenthetical chazara, that's not our sugya. The Tanya zakal kol shem aminim. Rav Gamliel are shalosh brachos. You bench v'chamayim brachos being shalosh. You make an ala eats. Ma'aser Gamliel was king shem yisum b'aliyah b'yarich. Chavay field of name Concise v'chalu dates. V'asa and Rav Gamliel or Shos Rav Kiva Rav Harich. What Rav Kiva do? Kavitz Rav Kiva brachos v'chesem yan shalosh. You mean ala eats. Not like Rav Gamliel holds and made a full benching. Amar Rav Gamliel Akiva. I'm not saying the machzor shecha bein machlekes. Why get involved in a machlekes? Amar Layer Akiva said to back to Rav Gamliel, Rabbeinu, Afal bi shatem rekin chayrecha merkin. Even though you said that you bench and your friends hold the way that you make al mechya lemateni rabbanan. Yachiv Rav Malach Rabbim. So I'm sorry, Rav Gamliel, but lamaisa we go with the Rabbim and the Rabbim hold. Alaitz, that's why Rav Akiva, that's what I did. Part A of the Brisa. Part B of the Brisa, which is proving our din about what is the bracha achrayna on this oirez bread after it's cooked with the pieces being nicker, that we said it's machlekes, whether you have to make it ala mechya or you have to make a loy klum, which we said means bayrei nefashais. Rav Yehuda Aimer Mishmai, Kol Shu Mishev Zaminim, V'loy Min Daganu, I Min Dagan, as we turn over to Lamed Zayin Amud Beis, V'loy Yasol Pas, Rav Yehuda Shalosh Brachas, you bench, Chamer Min Brachachas, Kol She'ena, Eloi Mishev Zaminim, V'loy Min Dagan, Kegayin, and here's the line we're looking for, Pas Oirez V'daichen. On that, that is the machlekes chachamim and Rav Gamliel answering up the oirez bread after it is cooked and the prusas are nikarais, whether we say ala michya or bayrei nefashais. Says the Gemara, b'mayu kimta. Where do we get that? The end of this rice is referring to that you're cooking the rice, the oirez bread. Krav Gamliel ema seifa dereisha, but earlier on in the brisa, what did it say? This is Amud Aleph, a little bit higher up. It said about not the oirez bread, but about the wheat bread, and then it said if you bake it, and you take the bread and then you cook the bread, im eina prusas kayamais, the pieces are not recognizable. But my name is Zainais. Uliv Sa'i Brachachas Varachlem Brachachas Min Shalish. So Mani, whose opinion is earlier on in the Brisa? Eid Rav Gamliel. If it's Rav Gamliel, Hashtada Kisavis Vadaisa Rav Gamliel Shalosh Brachas. Rav Gamliel just said you bench on the Zayin Minim. So you're gonna tell me Mina Brutzas Kayamais Mibai. So you're gonna tell me if I have actual bread and just the pieces of the bread are a little bit destroyed. You're gonna tell me Mibaya, it's a Shaila according to Rav Gamliel. If you bench, no way. from Gamliel is making you bench on Allah 8. Certainly he's going to make you bench. Aina Prusas Kayamais. Elabshita Rabbanon. Must be Rabbanon. Not like Rav Shesha said. He says the Gemara, Kasha Rabbanon. If that's true, then you have a steer in the Rabbanon. Alaylam Rabbanon. Utanei Gabi Ayriz, Lubsavin Baruch Alav like Club. You keep it as the Rabbanon, but by Ayriz you change it. That the Bracha Achrayna to be like Club, it's going to be a Bayrei Nefashis. Continues the Gemara about 14 lines down, the two dots. Lamed Zayin Amid Beis. Amar Ravam. Hay Riyata de Chakla, the Riyata of the Chakla of the village. The Mavshi Bei Kimcha, there's a lot of flour. Mevarech, by name is Zaina, is my taima. This midar ikar, the flour is the ikar in this dish. The mechuza, the lamash v'chevcha, but in mechuza, the same type of dish was made, but in mechuza, what happened? The flour was not the ikar. Then varchalov v'shakol niyabed varay. My taima, tuv sheikar, because the honey is the ikar. So whether the honey is the ikar, whether the flour is the ikar, is going to change whether the bracha is shahakol, whether the bracha is mizaynais. Hadar Amar Rav, and Rav went back and said, "I divide the name mizaynais." Said Rav, no. Really, in both of these cases, you make a mizaynais. The Rav Ushma Darmi Dervayu call sheyesh by mechamishes haminim. The yisai that we've been learning mivarchinan alav bayrei mine mizaynais. Amar Rav Yosef continues the Gemara. We're smack in the middle of the Amid. First one line is Yosef, Hi Chavitza. The Chavitza dish, which is what? This Perurin Kizayis. As piece of bread the size of an olive. Betzchil Varchlev Motzechem in Ares. Savrach Alav Shal Bracha sounds something like a chalakol. So in the beginning you bench, and then you have to in the beginning you make hamaitzi, in the end you bench. The last paper ruins zayis, but if there's no pieces of bread left the size of a kizayis, so says Rav Yosef that the difference is going to be whether the pieces that are left are kizayis or not. Amar Rav Yosef and Amin already know this Titania. So when he's standing and bringing carbon mincha in Yerushalayim, Oimer, what does he say? When the kohen takes the menachas to eat, mevarech hamayti lechem min haaretz. V'tani Allah v'kulan poitim kizayis. We learned over there by the carbon mincha that when it comes to the kimitza, all the pieces are broken up into the size of a kizayis. So what do we see? We see that there's this mincha that has pieces of bread in it, and the Brisa says it's amaitzi. So how can you tell me that it would be a mezainis? Amrli Rabbaye El Me'ata, what's your kasha? The Tanvi Rabbi Yishmael Damar Baruch and Achshavachzir in the salsa, and he says that you grind it up until it's back to the flour stage. Hachanami Delpai Bruchim, Moisach Ben Arsh, going to tell me according to Rabbi Yishmael is no amaitzi. Maybe you have a chitem hachanami, but Tanya we learned to the Brisa likim mikulin kizayis v'cholin. If you took from all of them little pieces of bread and adds up the size of a kizayis, im chametzu einish kares. So we see clearly that even though it's bits of challah of matzah, it still combines to the regular dinam of challah. Answer of Yosef Bisha Arsan. You made it into dough and you baked it, and it became a new piece of matzah. That's when it's pashut, it is hamaitzi. But by us, we're talking about that you didn't make a new matzah, you just crushed it up and you made it into, I don't know, matzah brai, challah kugel and whatnot. That's where our shayla is. Ihachi asked the Gemara, Ema sevu shachla v'chlech brass. Sefer said you have to eat with inkedeches bras. V'ibisha arsa, we made it into a dough, made one big matzah. Hai she'achlan. She'achalai mi ba'ilei. It's not achlan, different pieces. Achalai, it's one large matzah now. Therefore it says, Rav Yosef and Upshad, achamay iskinan, biba milechem gidayla. Small piece of bread, they came from a larger piece of bread. That is the case that, of course, it still has a din of bread, and therefore, of course, you're going to have to wash and bench. My dehave Allah concludes the Gemara. Amar Rav Sheishes, Hay chavitza, avol gav the last way beruk zayis, even though it doesn't have a piece of azayis. Baruch lam mosach min haaretz. Amar Rava udika lei Teresa dinama. Says Rava that famous line. It needs to have Teresa dinama. If it doesn't have the appearance of a bread, and of course that's always going to be a world war. What exactly does that mean? Then says Rava loses its status of hamaitzi. We'll stop over here. We'll pick it up from truknim, different types of breads, whether chayv, challah, etc.